comes along and picks that bunch and takes it into the winery and presses it, those flavours run together, and that's what I call the yin and yang of Marlborough Sauvignon, or of Sauvignon in fact. It's a contrast between the ripe and the less ripe, so you can get that sort of quite interesting contrast. There's no other wine that I can think of, no other grape variety where they celebrate the difference. Most try to get uniform flavours in the bunch. They don't want overripe and underripe, but Sauvignon's the exception. So with that, yeah, there's all sorts. They'll do it at different rates. I get sent a lot of devices, and one I had recently, which is quite extraordinary, was from a German company called Eisch, breathable glasses. Has anyone come across them? They sent me 2 different shaped glasses, a breathable and a non-breathable, and there was a little mark. You couldn't tell it, there's no difference, but there's a little mark on one to show it's breathable. And they claimed that in, I think it was 2.5 minutes in the glass, it's like being in a decanter for an hour and a half or something. And I thought, oh, I can't, now I've seen everything, but I opened the bottle of wine, put it in the 2 glasses, tested it. It worked. God only knows how it works. Eisch, E-I-S-C-H. Although, having said that, I remember one chap early on in the course, he came along, he'd only drunk 2 wines in his life, and he drank a bottle a day. And one of those, this was many years ago, and this was deep minus, just a sort of, something like that. But nice and quite roomy, the young Pinot. Here I thought red. I thought it was surprisingly good colour for its age, and considering it's a 750ml bottle, whereas the Shiraz was showing a lot more development. I call that sort of slightly bricky edge, slightly orangey influence there. Aroma words on number 1 on the Pinot. Anyone? Raspberry. Actually, I got raspberry too. Cherry, yep. Pepper, yeah. Rhubarb. I'll tell you what you do get on some of those Central Otago wines. I picked up a bit of it. Is around the vineyards, they've got a lot of wild thyme. It was planted 150 years ago by miners just for their cooking needs, and it's spread all over the valley. And we often get that wild thyme character coming into the wines. It's great in a blind tasting. If you get it in a Pinot tasting, you know that it's a Central Otago wine because no other region has it. So I might just put thyme there. Any others? I got peppers. Spice, clove, cherry, cloves. Oh, it's sort of cherry. I was going to say like a sort of glazed cherry character rather than sort of fresh cherries. Anything else here? I think they're all, to me, they're all on the nail. Mainly because I've got most of them down here. All right, so let's go to the colours now for the aroma words. What have we got here? Mulberry. Oh, that's an interesting one. Berry, eucalypt. I was saying a minute or 2 ago that I have an absolute blind spot for eucalypt. If someone mentions it, I'll pick it up, but I never see it first. It's just one of those things that I have real trouble in spotting. Anything else? Tomato leaves.
It's $34.
$34. And then we have a Kubu River. Not a beautifully wrapped one. Oh gosh, that's their Matty Chardonnay. Well, that's the top of the
pops,
range. 2008 as well. This is a single vineyard wine. This gets all their Rolls-Royce treatment and the best oak and everything else. So that's
We're mid-50s, but High Street's 90 on that.
how much are you?
We're mid-50s. But I saw a price in the High Street for 90. I was shopping around here.
It's a pretty
Mates, I'll send everyone.
I'll say the Green Caramel, Turarusu or something. you're going to have to choose a significantly, like a sweet wine, but one that's sweeter again than the dish. You have a very subtle, a dish with subtle sweetness, once again, a wine with just a tad more sweetness than that dish. So that's a reasonably good guideline to follow. What I'd like you to do now is to take a bit of lemon and just have a, you don't have to eat the lemon, but just a little suck of the lemon. We're going to use the lemon again, so don't toss it away. A little bit of lemon, and then try the wine again and see whether you prefer it with lemon. And you can probably guess the answer here, but is it going to be sweeter, drier, or no change? Like quite pronounced fruit. I'm getting quite a lot of plum but also spice and certainly pepper. There's some savoury notes too that I find quite interesting. To me, I'd be very happy to drink this without food, to be honest. But it's a wine that would go very well with food. It's got archetypal, austere, old world style. To me, it sort of fits somewhere in between the old world and the new world stylistically, with reasonably pronounced fruit. I think it's quite delicious. Suppress that big spike of fruit in a number of ways, by picking earlier, so you get the grapes less riper and less ripe and fruitier, by more oxidative handling in the winery to blow off a bit of fruit flavour and so forth. And I really thought that was really interesting. I think in the New World, we tend to, in New Zealand, I'll use New Zealand and Australia as an example, we tend to drink wines before, after, and occasionally during a meal. And no self-respecting Frenchman, Spaniard, Italian, or whatever would drink wine without food. So they have a different role in both in the different countries. So as a result, our wines tend to be fruitier, sweeter, less tannic or less acidic, and just more approachable without food. Whereas the old world wines are more austere, more tannic or acidic, and certainly less fruity. Wines that really start to sing once you have them with food, particularly the right sort of food to suit those wine styles. Now, I'm not putting one or the other on a pedestal. I'm just delighted to have the opportunity to be able to drink old world wines reasonably regularly and to have new world wines as my core diet, I suppose. But it's interesting to think of them in that light. Now, we've just enjoyed, I hope you enjoyed, an Aussie wine that I'm sure Pontalia would cry quel horreur if he tasted it, 15.7 alcohol and all. But I enjoyed it, particularly a glass. I wouldn't want to have that wine with food. I was just probably come up with a match that would suit it. But we now have, I haven't tried it yet, we now have this this Creux Hermitage, so a Shiraz from France. And I'd like to just try that. Let's run it through the quick profiling thing and see if it gives us any insight to the difference between New World and Old World styles. The Shiraz showing a lot of development, quite an interesting way, a lot of concentration, big, I can't read my writing here, but you're showing a lot of development, big rich Shiraz showing that's really developing well, or very developed. I thought it carried its alcohol reasonably well, but it did show, didn't it?